In aviation, the margin of error is measured not in meters of runway, but in fractions of a second of decision-making. One wrong movement of the hand on the control wheel, and a multi-ton machine with hundreds of passengers turns into a pile of metal. But the most dangerous airport on our list has neither sheer cliffs nor eternal polar ice. It looks like a peaceful, sandy beach, which completely disappears twice a day, submerging under meters of ocean water. This airport, lost in the clouds and nestled on a steep slope, is known as the Tenzing Hillary Airstrip. It hangs at an altitude of nearly 3,000 meters in the heart of the harsh and unpredictable Himalayan ridges. To visualize this frightening steepness, imagine 9 Eiffel Towers stacked on top of each other directly over an abyss. The total runway length here is just over 500 meters, which is significantly shorter than a standard freight train. A pilot approaching for a landing in this narrow, foggy gorge always has only one single attempt. From behind, a deep abyss relentlessly presses the plane, while a solid and insurmountable stone wall inevitably waits ahead. Here, it is technically impossible to go around for a second attempt in the event of even a split-second delay. If the plane's heavy landing gear does not touch the asphalt in the first moments, the uncontrollable machine will crash into the rock at high speed. Cut off from civilization, local residents wait for these rare flights as their only and vital link to the rest of the world. For them, the piercing roar of engines over the gorge is the sole and most reliable sound of hope for survival. In the snowy and majestic French Alps lies a unique runway with an incredible slope of nearly 19%. It is built directly on a steep mountain hill and looks more like a ski jump from the side. Experienced pilots specifically use this steep incline as a natural and reliable brake during a highly difficult landing. And during takeoff, they literally roll down this mountain, hoping to gain enough speed before the fatal cliff edge. At this mountainous airfield, the usual navigation systems that assist in making an automatic landing approach are completely absent. During thick fog or a heavy blizzard, the crew navigates solely by memory and familiar visual points. The entire depth of the margin of error under these conditions is measured only by the pitch angle of the flying aircraft. Drop the nose of the heavy aircraft slightly below the required level, and you instantly crash into the snowy hill. Raise it too high, and the pilot simply will not have enough speed to take off into the cold abyss. This harsh alpine airfield never forgives the person at the controls even a fraction of a second of weakness or hesitation. The tiny and secluded Caribbean island of Saba is nothing more than the sharp peak of an old, long-dormant volcano. The local international airport possesses the shortest commercial runway on our entire vast planet. Its total length is only 400 meters, which barely exceeds the dimensions of a large modern cruise liner. On 3 sides, this extremely narrow runway is surrounded by a sheer and deadly cliff leading directly into the roaring ocean. On the 4th side, sharp, steep cliffs loom over the pilots' heads, leaving minimal space for maneuvering. Gusty side winds from the sea constantly try to blow the light aircraft off the narrow asphalt into the deep water. If a landing pilot misses by even a couple of meters during braking, a fall into the abyss is inevitable. The slightest overshoot of the landing zone guarantees an immediate slide of the multi-ton machine down from the high rocky cliff. Frightened passengers during descent see nothing but the rapidly approaching watery chasm in their cabin windows. This extreme process looks more like a difficult fighter jet landing on the rocking deck of an aircraft carrier in a stormy sea. In the entire world, there are just over 24 pilots who hold a special license to perform a landing here. The airfield itself is squeezed in a narrow, winding gorge between harsh Himalayan peaks over 5,000 meters high. Upon landing, the plane is forced to make a series of sharp and dangerous turns along a highly complex trajectory. During maneuvering, pilots can rely only on well-known visual points on the ground under the wing of the aircraft. The main reference points for the crew are the bright red roofs of Buddhist monasteries located on steep mountain slopes. At certain moments, the wings of a massive passenger liner pass in frightening proximity to the roofs of ordinary residential houses. Meanwhile, the onboard computer in the cockpit, continuously and panicky, warns the pilots about the dangerous proximity of the ground. The crew is forced to completely disable the automatic control systems and trust only their own eyes and intuition in the gorge. Any suddenly rolling cloud or sharp gust of wind can completely hide the runway visibility in the blink of an eye. Every landing in Paro requires the person at the controls to have extreme physical concentration and truly steel nerves. In past years, the runway on the Portuguese island of Madeira was so short that it terrified pilots. Eventually, it had to be built artificially, extending the heavy concrete structure directly over the roaring waves of the ocean. Now, this unique overpass is reliably supported by 180 massive reinforced concrete pillars reaching into the water. However, the main and truly unpredictable danger of this place is hidden not below, but in the air itself. On one side of the runway loom rugged mountains, while the cold Atlantic Ocean stretches out on the other. The collision of these two powerful air masses creates sudden, sharp, and extremely strong crosswinds near the ground. Invisible air currents literally toss and threateningly swing the heavy aircraft from side to side before touchdown. The crew must perform precision control maneuvers at an altitude of only about 30 meters above the churning water. Just before touching the runway, they need to sharply level the aircraft, which has been tilted by the wind, in fractions of a second. Here, the treacherous margin of error is measured by the critical bank angle of the wings above the concrete deck. At this remote airfield in Antarctica, you will never see the familiar gray asphalt surface. The surface of the local runway is absolutely clean, mirrored, and slippery blue Arctic ice. The thickness of this fragile icy crust, beneath which lies a deep ocean, is only about 2 meters. At the same time, the total weight of a landing heavy military transport plane often exceeds an impressive 220 tons. If the pilot lands this multi-ton machine too harshly, the ice beneath the wheels can instantly crack. But standing in one place for too long after a successful landing also represents a deadly hazard. The running hot engines begin to gradually melt the strong ice crust directly beneath the massive steel landing gear wheels. If the parking of the aircraft is delayed, the heavy machine will slowly and irreversibly begin to sink into the melting, freezing water. In these lifeless, icy deserts, rescue assistance will guaranteed never manage to arrive on time for the stricken crew. Pilots are forced to act with extreme speed, carefully sliding their wheels over the frozen and treacherous ocean abyss. Perhaps the most treacherous and unusual airport in the world is located on the quiet northern island of Barra in Scotland. This is the only place on our planet where scheduled passenger flights officially land directly on a sandy beach. There are no conventional control towers here, and the flight schedule is dictated directly by lunar cycles, high and low tides. Twice a day, the incoming tide completely submerges this beach under a wide 4-meter layer of salty ocean water. When the water finally recedes, it leaves behind wet, slippery sand and piles of slick seaweed on the runway. Under the conditions of frequent thick fogs, it becomes extremely difficult for pilots to spot the correct boundaries of the sandy shore. One wrong movement of the control wheel in the fog, and the plane will fly directly into the advancing cold waves of the Atlantic. This perfectly flat and seemingly safe road has claimed the lives of those who made mistakes in their calculations. An error of just a few minutes in these parts means the instant and complete disappearance of the runway under the water. The beach deceptively lures the crew with its visible simplicity. hiding a deadly and inevitable water trap beneath its smooth surface. Perhaps it is in this paradox that the main lesson of all these incredibly dangerous places lies. The safest flight is not the one that takes place over an endless and peaceful plain without obstacles. A truly safe path is made only by a pilot who remembers the frightening proximity of the abyss every single second. It is this constant memory and sincere respect for the elements that preserve fragile human lives in the sky.